Hi students, this is Mrs. Mignell with the Friday All Call for November 1st, 2019. First, I want to emphasize that you are not alone. I know that being in an online class, and I have been in online classes, you often feel that you're totally alone and that there isn't even an instructor. I often feel as an instructor of an online class that I am teaching an empty classroom. If students don't contact me with questions or submit assignments, text me, send me a conversation, really it's like me speaking and no one's in the room. So please send me your questions, right? Reply to announcements. There is a place at the bottom of each announcement for you to reply. If you reply something, even just got it, then I know that you're in the room. Send me texts if you have a question or a conversation. The good news is you are not alone. You have a number of students, and actually very capable students in the class. We are trying to work out how to be a awesome and wonderful and terrific online English 1A. So here is the contents of our all call for today. We have 3 new students in the class, and I'd like you to welcome them. There's some housekeeping issues. We have a discussion board on what's working and what's not working or needs to work better. I have 2 things for you to vote on. The first thing is, how do you want to respond to the drafts of your peers? What program do you want to use? And then we have 6 weeks left in the class to work on essays 2 and 3, and I have 2 options for setting up the next 6 weeks that I want you to vote on. So first, new students. Our new students are Jawan, I think it's Brazel, Khalid Hilton, and Michael Gates. Please return to that discussion board and respond to them in some way. I will give you 5 points for a substantive response to them. And then new students, please respond to the students in the classroom so that you meet them as well. Okay, so housekeeping. I have some things to talk about. The subject lines in Canvas conversations and emails, the names on the assignment submissions, and then feedback on assignments. I would appreciate it if you were in your Canvas conversation and emails, you would place in the subject English 1A online and then the topic. I did cover this in the syllabus a little bit, but I'm adding to it. I have a number of students now and everyone's emailing me, so this will help me keep who's who and in what class straight. So here's an example. A good subject line in a conversation or email would look like subject, English 1A online, essay 1 peer responses. Names on submissions. So every time you submit an assignment to Canvas, I would appreciate your renaming it. Last name, first name, assignment name, and then the date. And then this would look like Owens Candace, essay 1 updraft, 28 October 2019. Okay. Feedback on assignments. So now I'm going to give you feedback on the annotation assignment, the difficulty paper, and the updraft. Feedback on the annotation. So the goal with the annotation on Swift-Zamata's proposal was for you to put your thinking on the page, which does require you to monitor what you're thinking in your head. This will help with reading comprehension if you were aware of what you were thinking. Defining words or restating what the text says does prove that you understand the text, but now in college we do expect that you will understand the text. So go ahead and put those annotations, but I do expect for you to give some indication that you understand, and I want to give you a brief example of what I mean. So here is the first page of Jonathan Swift-Zamata's proposal, the PDF form. And I have used the program Adobe Acrobat, and I have the professional one that allows me to create notes. So here's my note page on it. You'll see I have a note here, and then I have highlighted this, and I've put a note on this as well. So this particular note is more my thinking, to make children a blessing rather than a burden. I guess they were so poor in 1720 Ireland that children, many born by Catholics, were uh, one more mouth to feed. So that's my thinking. Now, melancholy here is, here I'm defining the word. So that's my understanding. And I come on over here, and here's a comment here. I said, just like seeing homeless people in Fresno, it's sad. There's only so much I can do, and then I really don't trust a homeless person to use money for food, clothing, and shelter. I suspect they buy alcohol or another drug. So this is my thinking when I'm reading this particular sentence, this introduction of Jonathan Swift's. Come over here, and I would define alms to mean coins, livelihood to mean a way of earning, and that is just my understanding what Swift is saying. The pretender here, I had to look it up, and then over here I actually had to look up the history on the kings in Britain. So I had to make sense of this timeline, and I had to research this and think about it. So, and here's another annotation that I made that talked about deplorable means awful. So the notes that I made on the words was for me to help me to understand things. Even this one on the history helped me to understand things. But the goal of annotation is not just to understand the text, but it is to actually record what you are thinking. So that was my comments on the annotation. There are programs that students use that worked a lot better. The Cam Scanner app for your phone, it does eventually cost $5 a month. The students who did that were able to print off the text, write on the text, and then scan it, and then post that scan to Canvas. Another student used Adobe Acrobat, which is what I just got through showing you. It is, for a student, it is $40 a semester or $80 a semester, $80 a year. Okay, so here's the feedback on the difficulty paper. Most of the essays were really well done. Only surface errors. I pointed out some surface errors in them, but I didn't grade according to surface errors. I did an awful lot of laughing in these difficulty papers. I really heard your personality and your voice in these, and I really appreciated it. It was a fun read. I did have an audio recording done of Swift's A Modest Proposal. I just got it on Monday. So here I am back on Canvas and in the modules for week 2. And what I want to show you is where I place the audio recording, and it is right here. I did have it created with the Irish Brogue, and Lenny Lee did put on the act of the sarcastic preacher, because Swift was a preacher and he was being very satirical in this essay. I really wanted you to hear, one, the Irish accent, but two, the hyperbole in what he was saying in this particular essay. I hope you listen to the whole thing. It's about 23 minutes, and it's a hoot. You will really laugh about it if you listen to it. So here's my feedback on your updrafts, essay 1 updraft. So I'm going to say more of you submitted a relevant attempt at the rhetorical analysis of a text. I did give a few of you 1 point, requesting that you would read through the 2 example essays. And I know there's 6 example essays, but read through 2 and watch my rhetorical analysis videos, all right, to have a better idea of what I'm asking. Or text me, arrange a time to call and talk to me, send me a conversation, connect with me if you are not understanding how to do this updraft. Okay, so now we're moving over to the conversation from the discussion board for week 3 on what's working. What you told me was that you really liked how quickly I responded to you. So, and I will continue to do that. You like my Friday all calls, where I summarize what's going on and give more specific feedback, and I will continue to do this as well. You like the links that I put in what you will learn this week on each of the modulars. I will continue to do that. and you like the examples, and I will continue to give you examples. The things that you said that I did need to work on was this matter. One person talked about grading. So first, I do try to get everything graded by Friday. I am functioning on full load now. So one student pointed out that I do have an awful lot of other students to work to grade. So my goal is to finish grading your assignments by Friday. A couple assignments do slip through like this week, but that is my goal, and I will continue that goal. Another student asked about weighted grades, and I have created a PowerPoint that explains weighted grades. And let me show you where that is. So here I am again in our Canvas course on the modules page. And this is the information listed alphabetically. And what I have done, if you scroll down, here is the PowerPoint on weighted grade. If you have any questions after reading through that PowerPoint, please send me a conversation. So another thing that needs to work better is shorter instructions. So I will work on that. I am having to translate my more detailed instructions into shorter instructions, so bear with me as I do that. A links page. What I can do is create one page where all what you will learn in this week, what you will learn in that week, with the links is available. So I will create that and place that on the home page for you to find. So I think hopefully this is a good enough compromise. And then examples, do you need more examples? I've got it. I will work on those as well. Okay, so I have two things that I want you to vote on, and I'm going to send you a survey to vote on them. I'll write it up tomorrow, Saturday, and send it out to you. The first one regards how do you want to respond to the essay peer responses? Do you want to use Canvas groups, or do you want to use a discussion board? Okay, so the benefit of the Canvas group is that there's a whole lot more that you can do with it, but you will have to learn how to use it. The perk of the discussion board is that you already know how to use a discussion board. So the benefit of using the Canvas groups is that you can send announcements to everybody, and I'll only create one Canvas group. So that way there are students who post their drafts, their updrafts on time, can respond to those students who have posted their drafts on time. And those students who are a little bit late can respond to those who are a little bit late. You will be able to share files. You can create folders and put files in them. You also have access to a discussion board. As I said before, the discussion board, you don't have to learn anything new. I will create one discussion board for each of the subsequent essays. We have essay 2 and then essay 3, and you will post your updraft and then reply. So you won't have to learn anything new. So I will send out a survey, and I want you to tell me what your preference is. Now, the other thing I would like you to vote on is we have 6 weeks left in the semester, and we have 2 more essays to write. The first option is to spend 3 weeks on the 2 essays, and the other option is to stagger those weeks. So let me explain. Option 1 would be to spend 3 weeks on essay 2, which is a literary analysis. You will be reading Tara Westover's Educated, a Memoir. And if you pick option 1, this means that you agree to read the book in 2 weeks. Because that last week, that third week, you will be writing, you'll be drafting and updrafting and responding and revising essay 2. Okay. Option 2 is staggered weeks. So, for example, weeks 4, 6, and 8, we would be working on essay 2, that literary analysis, and you'll finish reading Tara Westover's book over 4 weeks instead of 2. The only thing is that 2 of those weeks you'll be working on other things, but you will have, I would think, more time, more week time anyway, to fit in reading a chapter. And Tara Westover's book is still her top 10 nonfiction books. It's a very popular book. A lot of students say that they do enjoy reading it. And then on weeks 5, 7, and 9, you would be working on Essay 3, which is the research paper. You are allowed to do a topic of your own choosing. I do have some topics that I never, ever again want to see again, and I'll let you know what those topics are. So you will select a topic that you're interested on that is not one of my you can't do topics. And then you will have the next, until the end of the semester, to work on that research paper. So here is what it looks like. Essays 2 and 3 in 6 weeks. This is English 1. And what I'm going to do is, week 1 would be on part 1. You'd have a test on it. And then week 5, you would have a test on part 2. And then week 6, you would have a test on part 3. And that week, we would draft the essays. Okay? Down draft, up draft, peer responses, revised draft, and then the following week would be the edited draft. Okay, then week 7 we would start the research essay, and we would discuss topics. The following week we would talk about sources, and then that last final week we would be talking about original ideas and angles, in addition to the drafting process, down draft, up draft, peer responses, and then you would have to submit a revised and edited essay. Now, I'm not going to spend the time to go through the individual assignments, but I'm kind of giving you an idea. All the red is the assignments that you would be working on. The assignments really don't change regardless of what option you choose. It's just, do you want to have a focus on one essay and then another essay, or do you want to have more time reading the book and researching? So here's what essay 2 and 3 look like staggered. And the weeks, I'm not going to read them to you since I've already kind of gone through them anyway. They're just in a different order. And then here's the assignments that you can pause this video and take a look in more detail as to what would be expected of you in the next 6 weeks. And we will be drafting the research essay during the week of finals, regardless of which option you take. So we do not have a final exam in the class. You instead are using that week as if it was a regular online class, only you submit things for week 8 on Monday, and then you only have until Friday to get everything to me, because I have to submit grades by the following Monday. So that's the Friday all call. Thank you so much for listening.